All right. Welcome back, chaps and chapettes, to the newest episode of the Chaps Chat with me, myself, and I, Connell B. Doyle. And this week we're going to be talking about the infamous story that a lot of you guys, the original listeners, will be aware of. The story about me getting banned from London Fashion Week. But we'll get into that later. As you know, we talk about life for a while, and that's what we're going to do. So this week we're going to get straight into it. So, this week has been a chill week. A lot of people messaging about YouTube, etc. Essentially, David has bailed the last 3 weeks. Literally been like, I'll be here. He's bailed. He's not text me. He's like, I'll be here. He's bailed. He's not text me. And he's like, I'll be here. He's bailed. He's not text me. And I actually haven't heard from him in nearly a week now. So I'm worried. Boys, I'm actually worried. So my priorities aren't YouTube. It's hopefully that David is alive and well. I actually genuinely have no clue what's going on. Like, I'm in his house and he hasn't been back, so I really have no idea what's going on. But yes, that's the reason, because obviously I don't want to get like another cameraman when David said he's going to be there and he's just literally straight up like he's just not. So I genuinely am past the point of being like, bro, if you can't just bail, to like, I hope everything's alright. So that is straight up what's going on with the YouTube vlogs. I think this week, like, I've texted him, I was like, we're meant to be in Paris this week. We're actually going to do a video which is using the Patreon money that a lot of you guys have been paying for, the exclusive episodes. We're going to do a full vlog dedicated to you guys. But he has the account to take that like money out, and I obviously want him to be there because it's Chaps Chat Extra. It's me and him. We're going to do a video with that money. We're going to make funny content with that money, and we're going to give back with that money. That is the idea this week. We got a crazy idea, but I just straight up haven't heard from David. As you know, David would do a lot of the Chaps Chat with me. He hasn't. I actually just straight up don't know. So I actually, seriously, boys, hopefully everything's all right with that guy. Because, yeah, I'm stressing about it at this point. I'm really stressing about it. I know his phone was broken, but he had Snapchatted me. So he's got access to Snapchat. I just don't know what's going on. But other than that, yeah, that's why the vlogs are held back. As you can even tell, probably by my mannerisms, I am genuinely stressed out about it. But anyway, so because he's not there, not around, it's just been a chill week, really. Just been editing, posting the usual content, the usual stuff. But I did have a few days drinking. And I'm with a girl. We had a few days drinking. Her not so much, largely just me. But we had an interesting situation, and this is sort of what I don't want happen. I actually vented to my sister, who's giving birth in a few weeks, her second child. So want to get the content filmed so I can get back to Ireland quick and be there for the birth. But obviously I want David there. I don't want to exclude him. Don't want to just abandon and go off and do my own thing when he's not aware. But, having a couple of drinks, really excited for my sister who's giving birth, but I vented to her the other day. So here's the drama, boys, right? There's a man who lives in the area where David's house is, and he's well known around here, and he's so well known that essentially, I now know him quite well just because he's always at this one particular area. Really, really nice guy. Really nice guy. But, I'd actually give him my empty beers and stuff. When the beers are done, I'd give it to him. And I developed a decent rapport just because I walk past him all the time. And me and him become chummy, become pally. We talk almost every day for a couple of minutes, or at least give a head nod or whatnot. And the other week they were using David's house to film. All right. And because they were using his house to film, the street was essentially cordoned off. And this guy usually sits at the bench outside of his store. He owns a store. And he would drink beers, and that's how me and him become friends, because he's always just out there every day drinking beers, chilling. And I was like, right, they've cordoned off the street. I saw him. I was like, this is crazy. They're filming. They've cut off the whole street. They've cut the power. They're using their own lamps and stuff. There's no street lights. And he's like, yeah, it's annoying though, because they're not letting me sit on my bench to drink my beer. And I was like, do you know what it is, mate? Why don't we all go for a beer? So we all go for a couple of drinks, and he invites his friend. And this is what I vented about, because I am getting older. I have just had a 10-month, lesson with the whole court case situation and, accused of heading someone, etc. I don't want to be getting into arguments, and that's just a past era of mine. But obviously it's me, him, his friend, and the girl I'm seeing. And the girl that I'm seeing, obviously beautiful girl, but very much like, for example, I had an ex-girlfriend who would have liked attention, you know, like would have needed attention. This girl's not like that. Because it's interesting, when I told my sister this story, I had to make it clear, like, this girl wouldn't want this sort of thing to happen, doesn't feel comfortable in these sorts of situations, very reserved, very chill, sort of speak when spoken to with other people. So it's good in that sense. Not socially anxious, but just knows her place. It's three men. I'm not gonna speak, you know, until I'm spoken to, which is nice. Like, obviously she can't speak. It's not like we're gonna shut her down for speaking and be like, no women allowed to talk. But this guy makes a comment at her in Dutch. We're all speaking English, and he makes a comment in Dutch to his buddy, and I was like, I know that word. So you've just switched from English to make a comment, and I know that word. It means lick or kiss. And I was like, what did you just say there? And he's like, I just said this, a lick or kiss. And I went, did you say that about her? And he said, yeah, I did. And I was like, well, bro, you can leave if you're going to make comments like that. Like, it's disrespectful. And I gave him like a warning of like initially like whatever. And he said, you know, it's a Dutch joke. And I was pretty pot, because I've spent a lot of time here, spent a lot of lad time here. I know a wee bit of Dutch. I can pick up on it. Like, if somebody said a full sentence, I'd be able to go, like, I know what that means. You know, like, I kind of could piece it together with the odd word here and there. I was like, bruv, that's not a joke. Like, that word means you want to lick someone or you want to kiss someone, and you've said it in Dutch, so you clearly didn't want me to hear it or understand it, and now you're saying it's a joke. And I was like, bruv, don't say it again, please. If you're going to be disrespectful, just leave. And I was like polite about it. And then he was like, no, I'm going to say it again. And I was like, bruv, you're not going to say that about her again. I don't care if it is a joke or if it's like just a passive comment. Like, you're not even making a joke about licking or kissing the girl that I'm seeing. You know, like, keep that to yourself. You're allowed to think that. I think it. That's one thing as well. It's like, it's not like nobody's allowed to think, oh, that person's good looking. It's a girl. Like, obviously, if a woman thinks a man's good looking, it's a different story. But like, as a man, like, yeah, I get it. I think the same thing. You can't really get too annoyed about that. But then he was like, I'll say it again if I want. And I was like, well, bruv, I'm telling you. And this is where I told him twice, you can leave, you're being disrespectful. This is where I'm annoyed at myself a little. I was like, bruv, it's like, mate, if you say it again, like, I'm gonna break your jaw, is the word I said, actually. And he was like, right, okay, we'll leave it back. And it did get a bit hostile. And then he was like, no, okay, I'm really sorry, I won't say it again. After specifically a couple of times saying, no, I will say it again. And then when I threatened him with like, I'm gonna break your jaw if you say that again. I'm telling you, either leave or don't say it again. Despite saying, I'm not going to leave and I will say it again twice, then eventually stopped. But then I woke up the next day, I was like, do you know what it is? I said to my sister, I was like, is there a need to do that? But I think sometimes being a man, you kind of have to do that. You have to put a bit of respect on, like, maybe he was joking, maybe I overreacted. I told him, I don't want to get into an argument because I do like the guy. And we all went for drinks the next day, so it was cool and we continued drinking. He's a good guy. Maybe there was a translation error, but principally, aside from that situation, I do think sometimes as a man, you gotta lay the foundation down of like, okay, we can all say what we want. Like, keep your eyes and your thoughts to yourself when it comes to a woman, or you're a woman specifically. So it was sort of difficult. I spoke to my sister about it. She's like, do you know what it is? It's good that you've now got this stage where you're self-aware that, like, yeah, you don't want to be doing these things. In her eyes, she was like, do you know what it is? Fair enough. Like, you got it. She's got a son now. She's going to have her second child. She sort of knows the drill. Like, she's sort of wanting these principles and values instilled in her children, I guess. So that happened this week. And then we've essentially... I've also got another story to tell. And this week's just going to be talking really about what's going on. I'm going to try and veer away from just being so... racist every episode now, because I got a message overnight. Actually, let me get into that. I got a message overnight from a guy being like, bro, I love when you just tell stories on the Chaps chat. Like, people do just like storytelling as opposed to ranting about stuff, which we will get into later. I always get into rants, but this guy said he likes stories and I need to tell more stories, so I'm going to do that. But I want to find out, there is somebody in Albavira right now running around the streets of Albavira telling them that I am their boyfriend, right? Somebody is doing that in Albavira, and nobody is telling me who the girl is. But I've got messages being like, hey bro, like how weird is this? It was like 2 a.m. and somebody messages me and he's like, hey man, I love your content, don't want to offend you, I was rizzing up your girlfriend, but then she told me you were her boyfriend and I'm not going to even try anymore. And I was like, bruv, I don't have a girlfriend, you know? And the girl I'm seeing, she sat with me, so like, who is this girl? What's going on? Why is this girl running around the streets of Albavira telling men that I'm her boyfriend? Who are you? Can we figure that out? Anybody? Because that's a really bizarre situation to be in, when there's a girl running around being like, yeah, Conal Doyle, that's my boyfriend. And then people are messaging me, being like, hey man, just met your girlfriend. Wifey material, somebody said. I'm like, bruv, tell me who she is. Somebody. Who is this wifey material woman who's claiming to be my boyfriend or girlfriend? Bizarre. Really bizarre. I've actually never had that happen before. I've had it happen like, you know, when people will say, oh, I slept with him, or I used to date him, or I know him from school. But actually straight up saying, listen, that's my boyfriend, is a bit insane. I'm not at all anybody's boyfriend, you know? So anyway, we need to figure out who that girl is. But that guy said he wanted stories. And here's another story soon. I recently, in the last couple of months, I met a fella, right? Met this guy and I really instantly clicked with him. But the first thing I kind of clocked about him was that this guy's really one of the smartest guys I've ever met. Like, quick, in tune. Like, I would say a movie, he would know it. He'd say a movie, I'd know. Like, we both very much connected. It was like very different people. Like, even a mild situation where, like, his girlfriend, because I was flattered, he introduced me to his girlfriend. We all went out for dinner. His girlfriend had bought like a gym outfit that, in my eyes, I would never let a girl I'm seeing wear that. And like, that is me. And he was like, I don't care. He actually said, I'm not one of them people who says you can't wear that. And I was like, I am that person. He's like, he even said, he's like, I like that, we're different, but like, we get also, we're different minds, different personalities, completely different. Even something recently, like, his girlfriend followed me on Instagram, and I like said to him, I was like, are you cool if I follow her back? Do you want me to follow her back, letting you know she's followed me? He's like, yeah, I don't care about that. But to me, if a girl that I was seeing started following my friends, I'd hit the roof. I'd be like, why are you following my mates for? You know? But it's different cultures, different people, but we still very similar minds, largely. One thing I noticed though, I was like, I felt like a lot of the people around him were completely using him. That's how I felt. Not using him per se, but I just felt like, you know, sometimes men have to put themselves around other men who think the same. You are your environment. It's very important to realize that. You know, if me and 3 of my friends all love, for example, say me and David love a good beer, right? We love drinking. If we add in 2 other guys into a house who love drinking, and 1 guy who doesn't love drinking, that 1 guy who doesn't love drinking is naturally going to conform to all of us drinking, right? It's like an echo chamber. You are who you surround yourself with. If I am around 4 people who are always talking about business or running or something like that, I'm going to conform to what they want and what they do. I'm going to fit into their lifestyle. So the people around you, their habits control you. If you're only around people who love partying, you're going to have to be involved in them loving partying, or you're going to have to be completely isolated. And largely, most people copy what others do. So I saw this guy was like great mind, really intelligent, really creative. I remember I went into his bathroom, and he had like this picture of like 4 Porsches all in a swimming pool, and he's got the sick Porsche. And I said that, even looking at that, I felt like, oh God, I really want to do a photo shoot of an item that's the same color as that, and recreate that photo in real life. Obviously not get the Porsches, you'll CGI that in, but like recreate that. And being in this house, I felt this overwhelming sense of like creativity, and that's because I'm in the house of a creative man. But then I looked at some of the friends, and the other night, because I don't like being preachy, I never like telling people what to do, and this guy's fucking genius and very successful, he can tell me what to do. But he sent me a photo, and he was like, you know, how cool is this? And it was another guy had like a custom made Range Rover or something, a custom made car, but had a mirror for doing narcotics on it, like a custom built in one. And when I saw it, I hate being this sort of person, but I was like, because it's intense and you sound intense, but I was like, bro, that's not cool at all. It's actually fucking sad. It's actually fucking pathetic to have a car custom built for you to do narcotics in. And then I felt like I'm being a preachy guy, I'm not seeming chill, I'm not seeming cool, but I also don't give a fuck. It'd be bad of me to be like, yeah mate, that's sick. And I just feel like, yeah, when I partied with them and stuff, I just like was like, it's hard for me not to want to say, bro, you're too good for this shit. You're too smart to be around this. And these people, none of them are like you. You know? And a lot of you boys need to relate to that. And you need to be cocky, you need to be egotistical, and you need to be able to realise like a lot of the people around you maybe aren't as good as you. And you're wasting your time around people who are just there for hedonistic purposes, to take whatever, to drink whatever. But are you eating them, or are they eating you? You know? Because are you paying for all their stuff, or are they making you, are they paying for your stuff? Are they making you forget real life problems? Are they distracting you from what you need to do? Or are you distracting them? You know? And it's like a really difficult, it's one of my biggest like things at the minute. It's one of my biggest mind fucks at the minute. I'm like, how involved do I get in this situation? How much do I tell this guy like they're holding you back, mate? Like, get away from this. You know, the hardest thing about bettering yourself is cleaning out the closet of who you're around. You are your atmosphere. You are your friend group. If you're around losers, you're going to be the next loser. If you're around winners, you're going to be the next winner. Be careful who you surround yourself with. Are they holding you back, or are you holding them back? Who are you? Who are you going to be? You know? Which one are you going to be? Are you going to be the one who's sitting there going, right, boys, you've got loads of important stuff to do, but we want to party, we want to drink. And if so, why are you doing that? Because you've got nothing going on, so you're trying to bring him on to what you're doing. You've got nothing. You're going nowhere. You're maybe mentally ill, and you're bringing somebody else down into it with you. That guy's got potential. It's like selfish. It's selfish, I think, from a lot of people as well, but life's tough. You got to be the bigger person to be able to look and go, do you know what it is? I need to step away from this. This isn't helping. This isn't aiding it. And specifically with this guy, I'm like, yeah, let's meet. It's annoying though, because obviously I'm waiting on David. This guy's waiting on me. David's not answering me. I want to do stuff that's like not just as big party and like go out, create, invent, think, and like put something together, because me and this guy could work really well together. But at the same time I'm waiting on David, and David's not replying, and it's like a whole big mess at the minute. But I'm just looking forward to a bit of normality. Also, boys, bloody just lost the bloody 5k a month brand deal. Oh, hate when stuff like that happens. It's actually so infuriating, because it's just good money just to have, you know. 5k a month gone down the drain. It is like, see, being an influencer is genuinely like, you're fully self-employed. Like, I think people just think it's really easy. It's actually, if I didn't have Raymonds and stuff, it would be very, very tough to just be a straight up influencer. I feel like a lot of influencers don't make a lot of money either. That's a whole nother episode. But yeah, boys, there's the two scenarios I faced this week. You know, that's the two scenarios I faced this week anyways. 3 scenarios: the brand deal, lost because they've just packed it in the business entirely, I believe. Then also the situation with my friend, who I'm like, are these people bad for you? Are these people good for you? Am I being intense by being like, it's pathetic that they're doing that? Or am I being a good person by saying that? Am I, out of order for threatening that guy? For, making a comment like that about my girl? It's the complexities of life, But as I've got older, the one thing I really have realised is you don't get anywhere by being good. That is something that my granddad said to me years ago, was you do not get anywhere being good. And as I've got older, I've never found it more truthful. I've never resonated with it as much as I do now. It's so complicated because I've always battled with am I a good person trying to be a bad person, or am I a bad person trying to be a good person? But unfortunately, in this life that we get, boys, you don't get anywhere by being good. If you're too nice to your girlfriend, she's going to cheat. It's important sometimes to start an argument with a girl and just let her know, like, here, listen, this is the fucking dynamic here. And it sounds really bad, but that's one of the best pieces of relationship advice I'd ever been given. One of the best pieces I've ever been given was always make sure to start an argument with your girlfriend from time to time. Really interesting, alright? And it was an old man who told me that. He literally said to me, the best thing you can do in a relationship is pick an argument with her. And just sometimes, just keep them on their toes. Make sure that she knows, listen, swear to fuck, don't get too complacent, don't get too lazy, sort this shit out, And it's important to pick an argument with your girl, because as I say, if you're too nice, girls will leave you. Girls will walk away. Girls don't want a nice person. They do want somebody who's going to shout at them from time to time. They want to impress. A woman's job is to impress the man, largely. And the man's job is to provide for the girl. That's the dynamic. That is the dynamic. Obviously, you want to impress your girl. You don't want to get fat. You don't want to get ugly, etc. You want to still obviously be appealing to them romantically. But largely, your job's a provider. Her job is to make sure that everything's going smooth and to impress, At the end of the day, the man has to make decisions in the household. Obviously, there's divisions of labour, etc. There's different, that's me just generalising the whole situation. But largely, that's true. But as I'm saying, you don't get anywhere by being good. As I say, if you're too nice, your girl will leave you. If you're too nice to people in general, they'll walk all over you. People take advantage of good people. So it's important to have that wee bit of a killer instinct in you sometimes. It's important to make sure that you can look after yourself and you can be respected. You can have enough of a status or a position or a personality that people will respect you and not walk all over you. Because if you're too nice, that's what's going to happen. People will take advantage of you. People will use you. People will abuse you. It's important to have a line and a principle. And people might not like when you get angry with them. People will not like, when you've got principles. People don't like it. People don't like when you've got a personality that draws the line. People don't like when you've got morals. People don't like when you've got principles. People don't like when you've got a respect line, and if they cross it, you go. And that's just life. You have to have it, otherwise people will take advantage of you. But that's sort of been my dynamic this week. It's been a very morally testing dynamic this week of, is this guy joking? Am I being over the top? Or am I going to have to put the foot down here and say, don't speak about her like that? I'll fucking break your jaw, which I did. Maybe I was in the wrong. I have a feeling what they said wasn't a joke. Because who looks at a girl and says, I'm going to lick you, I'm going to kiss you in a jokey way in a foreign language, But yes, that's it. And then another thing I was thinking about this week as well, right? Like, I met somebody recently who had battled with depression. And I said to him, I've never battled with depression. And it's interesting getting to know somebody who's been depressed. And a large reason for people being depressed is because the meaningless of life, like the monotony of life, the boring nature of life, the normality of life is too much for them. That is a large reason that people are addicts, depressed, like alcoholics, drug addicts, depressed. A large reason that people are like this is because the normality and the monotony of life is too much. Everybody needs a kick. Everybody needs gratification. And I've been there. I've definitely been there where I've been in pursuit of, like, you know, I like going out. I binge drink, sleeping with different girls all the time, buying the newest thing. I remember buying a Rolex and I bought a Porsche all within like a month. And once I got them, I was like, I don't want either of these. I don't care. I've been in that state of, like, you know, normal life isn't good enough. Even right now, I lost a brand deal. It's 5k a month. I'm like, oh gosh, that was great money. But then when I think about it, well, it's just extra. It's just extra. Do I need it? Can I live? Can I survive without it? Yeah. Is that the end of my world? No. Is it going to make me happy? No. You know, it's fun to have. But sometimes that the large cause for people, like the main cause for people being depressed or alcoholics or drug addicts, is that they cannot handle the normality and monotony of life. And when I met somebody who was like that and he told me about it, he was like, how can you never, like, I've never suffered from depression. And the reason is because I am so happy. And the reason that people can't survive without alcohol or drugs and they're feeling depressed is because they can't appreciate the small things. People can't appreciate the small things. And the reason I've never suffered with depression is because in the morning when I wake up, I genuinely love the feeling of the sun on my face. I genuinely love waking up. I love having a cup of coffee in the morning. I appreciate that. I feel fantastic after it. I love small interactions. I love walking down the street and seeing people that I know and just saying hello, good morning, how are you? I love that. I love speaking to my sister on the phone. I love having nephews that I talk to. I love that. I love sitting down for an hour and playing Xbox. I love playing chess. I love buying a new shirt and being like, yeah, that's cool, I'm going to wear that till death. I love the simple things. And people need to learn to appreciate the simple things. Because at the end of the day, we're not going to have our car to go to the grave with. We're not going to have our Rolex to go to the grave with. You know? Having loads of sex, drinking loads of alcohol, yes, temporary, it feels good at the time. I'm going to drink tonight. But if I rely on that, my life's hollow. My life's meaningless. I would rather have a beer, sit in the sun and be like, this feels unbelievable. This life's great. There's some parts of the city that I'm in right now that I'll walk to specifically because the air smells so nice in that area. And that is what gets me through my days. And me being able to appreciate that is what keeps me mentally sane. And that's the reason I can never be depressed. Because life's too good. Like, yes, there's loads going on in the world. Immigration, you know, Israel, genocides, girls are out cheating, you know, abortions are happening everywhere. There's loads of depressing stuff that happens in the world, you know. Life's tough, life sucks. How nice is it? How nice is it? The sun always shines. You know, when it rains, how nice is the feeling of rain on your skin? You know, how nice is that interaction you've got with the guy who lives next door, the shop owner? People need to appreciate these things. And if you're constantly relying on a fix, then maybe one day you need to slow down. Maybe one day you need to step back and go, life's alright. Everything's alright. Might be living in a shithole, yeah, you might have no money. At least you're waking up. At least you're waking up, the sun's still shining, there's a chance to change it. That's the most important thing. There's a chance to change it. Nothing's permanent. There's no studies at all to show that depression is a chemical imbalance in your brain that happens randomly. Everything's permanent. Everything's temporary. There's a chance to change it. So that's another thing I've been thinking about quite a lot this week. I feel like, fuck me, boys, this has gotten into a deep boil episode and I'm not meaning it to be whatsoever. But yeah, the monotony of life for some men is too much for them and people need to slow down a little, you know. There's a great John Mayer song. Or Jack Johnson. Sorry, not John Mayer, Jack Johnson song, where he sings about the train stopping and he goes around and walks around the city and he loves every minute of it. So yeah, this train's broke down and I can take a walk around. that's just how life should be. We should be happy to be here. We should take appreciation in the small things, you know. And yeah, I feel like this is like an OG Chaps Chat episode that I was doing like last year. So actually getting more listens for these sorts of episodes. That's actually not true. I was getting consistently good listens for these sorts of episodes, but then when I say something crazy, obviously they do go kind of viral. But yeah, that was another one I've been thinking on quite a lot this week. It's been a week of, just because there's nothing to focus on too much, because we're not vlogging and content's just churning out, etc. But yes, so gonna start answering some questions here. Okay, so they say your brain lives for 7 seconds after death and it plays your best memories. What would your best memories be? So let's repeat that. They say your brain lives for 7 seconds after death and it replays your best memories. What would my best memories be? My best memories would be just old school Ireland, boys. My best memories would definitely be how Ireland used to be. The streets weren't littered. Well, people are going to say I grew up without the troubles. Maybe let's just say how Europe used to be. My best memories would be how Europe used to be. No immigration. Grape was at an all-time low. There was no worries about grape. There was no worries about getting your phone stolen. There was no worries about getting stabbed. Kids were skipping down the street. Food didn't have anything processed in it. Food was healthy. Drinks were healthy. Things were cheap. Houses were beautiful. Houses had like old, architecture. There was no new builds. There was no immigrant problems. There's no immigration problems, sorry. Old school Europe was just amazing, and it's just falling apart so quickly. So if I had 7 seconds to think about, my best memories, it'd be just sitting in a cafe having some pasta in Italy. Not worried about being robbed. Then going to Sweden. Everybody there was blonde hair, blue eyes. It wasn't little Somalia. I'd think about that. Think about the Netherlands. Going to a square in the Netherlands. Everybody sitting, all the Dutch students sitting, drinking, enjoying their life. Wasn't worried about getting my watch getting stolen because they've just housed thousands of immigrants there. Think about Poland just being the most pure, clean country ever. Kids out in the street fishing, drinking beers. Now they've got LGBTQ banners around the whole entire place. I just think about Europe and how it used to be and the simplicity of it. That would be my best 7 seconds. That would definitely be my best 7 seconds. It'd be phenomenal 7 seconds. What better a 7-second memory could you want? So been sleeping with a local hoe, but she's pretty real. Thoughts? Controversial take, but sleeping with the local hoe is one of the realest girls you'll meet, boys. It's just how it is. You can't marry her. You can never even be in a relationship with her. But the local hoe is always real. They're always chill. They're whores. Super unreliable. Super not wifey material. But they're always real. They're always chill. One of the realest girls I ever met was the local hoe. She was a bop. Not a local hoe. She was just a hoe. One of the realest girls I'd ever met was a hoe. And it took me a while, after, she lived down the street from me. I'd go visit her from time to time. I'd say, I need a tin opener. Go round to her house, get a tin opener. What happens, happens. And then eventually I realised this hoe's pretty chill. This hoe's pretty real. It's a pity she's a hoe. Can't marry her. But the realest girl you'll ever meet will be the local hoe. They're all so chill. So chill, but you just can't wife them up, boys. That's just how it is. That's literally just how it is. I'm sorry to tell you, boys. Can't wife them up. An idiot who wifes them up. He's got a chill girl, but he's got a hoe. It's bizarre. It is a bizarre phenomenon. So, okay, I've actually already sort of addressed this. Struggling with depression. You need to think about the simple things in life. Do I have a job? So, somebody has asked me, do I have a job? Why not ask me, do I have a big heart? Why not ask me, do I have compassion? Do I have kindness? No. You asked me, do I have a job? So my response to that is, no, I don't have a job, but I've got a big heart. I've got compassion. I've got the ability to love. Why not ask me that? Why did you not ask me, do you have the ability to love? Do you have compassion? Do you have a big heart? Why ask me, do I have a job? What an asshole. But no, I don't have a job. Obviously, I have my own businesses. I feel like there's a lot of new people coming into this at the minute. So for a wee rewind, I went to law school, I worked in a law firm for a number of years. You know, and as well, let me actually try and give some of you inspiration. I'm 28 now. I didn't start social media until I was 25. Boys, you got time. You got time. My whole life changed at 25. I was working in a law firm. 3 years later, I'm racist online. So don't worry, some people are in such a rush. Take your time. Take your time. You can flip it all in a switch. But no, I used to work in a law firm, got a law degree. I'm not just good looking, I'm smart too, brother. So this guy has asked me, he said he's never had a girlfriend before. If I could describe how it feels to have a girlfriend, you know, if I had to describe how it feels to have a girlfriend, I would describe it as having a Jew with you full time. They're just there. They're empty in your pocket. You just walk out of the house with them and your money's gone. It just disappears. And you don't know how it disappears or where it's gone or what it's been spent on, but it's been gone. That is the relationship of a man and a woman. That is how it feels to have a girlfriend. The money just goes. I don't know where it's going. I don't know what is going on. But as soon as you got a girlfriend, it just disappears. It's literally like having Netanyahu follow you around the streets all day long. The money just disappears. Disappears. You know, see yesterday. Literally yesterday, right? I spent like 120 odd euro and I was like, how have I spent so much money? We didn't do anything. And then I realised I bought steaks, I bought eggs, I bought chicken. That was like 20 euro. Then I realised we were cleaning the house for old David. So then dinner was like all the shops were closed. So then I had to buy a takeaway. That was like 50 euro. And then I was like, where the complete fuck has all the rest of the money went? Like, where the complete fuck has all the money just disappeared to? And I can't even think off the top of my head what I spent the money on yesterday. But there was other stuff that just like added up so quickly. I was like, what the fuck? What the actual fuck? Where the fuck has this money went? And this girl's not even my girlfriend either. So what's going on there? Money just fucking vanishing. I can't remember what the rest of the stuff was on. For the life of me, can't remember. Oh, a matcha and a fucking stroopwafel. You're going, what the fuck's this? What the fuck's this money going? So let me see what other questions have we got. Okay. So there's a rumor, this kid has messaged me a story. To summarize, the girls in his school are calling him toxic. And listen, you know, in my life I've been called racist, I've been called sexist, I've been called homophobic. You know, I always get called racist, sexist, homophobic. And I genuinely mean that. Every day I get called a racist, sexist, or homophobe. But I never get called ugly. And that's all that matters. You know? So for you, my friend, yeah, they may call me toxic, they may call me selfish, they may call me manipulative, but they never call me ugly. That's all that matters, boys. That's all that matters. Don't worry about it, mate. As long as they're not calling you ugly, they can say what they want. They can say whatever the bloody hell they bloody want, mate. Fuck them. Who cares? Get used to it, sugar tits. You know? You know what I'm saying, boys? So, what other questions have we got? Every day, what makes me happy when I wake up in the morning? You know what does really make me happy when I wake up in the morning? The best part of my day is waking up in the morning and realising I'm not black. The rest of my day is just fantastic after that. It's like rainbows everywhere, sunshine, the kids are happy, they're skipping, the coffee is prime and perfect temperature, you know, your steaks are perfectly well done. The eggs are just there, everything's ready, everything's happy, everything's bliss. It's like the heavens are around us. That's the happiest minute of my day when I realise I'm not black. So, I'm firing through these questions, boys. I'm firing through these questions. Oh, bloody hell, I've just got racist. Oh, right, okay. So, let me see. What else makes me happy? how do I feel when people call me a racist? You know, the same people who are calling me a racist are actually calling this kid a racist. You know, I'm gonna, not right now, look at my short form, I'm gonna upload a picture of me as a child. That's who you're calling a racist, by the way. You know, this is the guy you're calling racist, sexist and homophobic. That's how I feel. Look at that. Do you feel guilty now calling me racist? Look at him. Would you ever call him a racist? No, you wouldn't. Leave me alone. Stop calling me racist. Right? Listen. Now I'm going to tell the story of... Should I tell the story? Should I just fuck yous all over? Or just not tell the story of getting banned from London Fashion Week? I feel like I'm going to tell it. I'm going to tell it quickly. But listen, yes, so... It was actually one of the coolest things that we've ever done. Was getting banned from London Fashion Week. And essentially... Back in the day, for all the originals, all the people who've been around for a while, they'll remember, I started this page as a Ralph Lauren. I started this page as a fashion account. I got my initial blow up on social media with fashion. I was doing skits about fashion. And I started working with Ralph Lauren. Started designing their clothes, sending them ideas of what they should remake. And they essentially told me they were going to credit me. They were going to give me, you know, they were going to give me a bit of, you know, acclamation. They were going to reward me for helping with their new launch, their new products they're releasing, the new season of clothes they're going to bring out. They were going to promote me as like the face of it. All right. And then they never did. And then they cancelled me because they said I was, you know, racist, sexist, and homophobic, and they literally wanted nothing to do with me. But I'd just been invited to London Fashion Week that week. So I went to London Fashion Week, and as the catwalk was happening, I held up a sign saying fuck Ralph Lauren. And then the security grabbed me, dragged me, and threw me out. They threw me out. They kicked me out. But that's essentially it. That is the story how I got kicked out of London Fashion Week. There was a vlog of it. It's on our archive because I archived all the selfie sort of vlogs. But yeah, that is just plain and simply the story. I had my friend from France come over, Le Doc Baron. By the way, Le Doc said it in a couple of episodes. Bruv, if you're listening to this, what the fuck? Why'd you not post any of the... What the hell happened there? Bruv did like 3 videos of me and just didn't post any. Like, what? Why the fuck did you do that? That was a bit crazy. But anyways, yeah, that was the story. He came over. That was a good memory. I was actually thinking about that has like made me think good of him again. Because that was good fun. But yeah, still bizarre old situation. They didn't upload it, but that's how we got banned from London Fashion Week. Fuck Ralph Lauren. Then I launched Raymond's, and Raymond's sold out, and we shut down Spotify. Also needing investors for Raymond's right now, so we are on that ground right now. Because I just need people to help. It's getting too big and too popular for me to control by myself. It's just too out of hand. I need some business fashion knowledge, and yeah. Listen, chaps and chapettes, I love yous. I appreciate you. Thank you very much for listening, watching, subscribing. Hope you enjoyed this real episode, and I'll see you all next week. Ciao. See you.